Hi and welcome to a new video in Python programming language. In the previous video, we talked about sets and set operations. In this video, we will talk about dictionaries in Python. We will cover what a dictionary is and what kind of methods we can, or some of the methods we're going to be using with dictionaries. A dictionary is a collection of objects or elements in which each element consists of a key and value. Best way to see it is with an example. So let's turn to Python and define some dictionaries. Let's say there's an electronics store that sells mobile phones, and they want to create a dictionary that states the name of the product and then how many items are available of each product. A typical file that shows inventory. So let's define our first dictionary. D equals curly bracket to dictionary, and then let's say iPhone 6. Let's say we have 7 of these. So this is the first key and value, and then separate by comma. The next item goes in, and let's say we have 9 of iPhone 6s. Next item, Samsung Galaxy S7, and let's say we have 8 of these. Let's stick with these 3 items and close dictionary. So this is our first dictionary being defined. If you print D, we'll show it the same way as we entered it. Notice the order is not important in a dictionary, so they're just ordered in any form like that. It doesn't, so we can't say, for example, as we did with lists, so D0 or D1, it will give us an error. We can't do it. So order is not important. The main thing about dictionaries is that keys must be immutable. So string, integers, tuples, they have to be immutable. We'll try to see what happens if we try some mutable items like a set or a list. We'll try this in the next few minutes. As for now, let's look at this one here. So we can call any of these items. D, let's say iPhone 6, you want to see how many items are in there. And then hit enter, it shows 7. You can call any of the other elements and then see how many Samsung Galaxies are there. The tab key will continue, and it shows there are 8 elements. Alright, let's clear everything and print D again so we can see it. Let's say the store acquired a new item. Let's say iPhone 7, and you want to add this item and its amount into the dictionary. So here's how we do that. D iPhone 7 equal, let's say we acquired 11 of these items. And now let's print D, and you'll notice that this element has been added to the list here. It doesn't have to add it to the end. As I said before, order is not important. It can be added anywhere in between. It just happened to be in this case. So that's how we can add element by element to the dictionary. So this is one way to create dictionaries as we defined it before. Again, key, colon, value, key, colon, value, and so on. And then we can add like that. Seen people start with an empty dictionary, and D is empty now. And then you can add to it the items one by one. So here's 1, and then if we print D, now it's added, and then you start building up your dictionary. I mentioned this in the previous video. So when you do use the curly bracket, the curly braces like that, it's taken as dictionary, not as a set. Another way to create a dictionary is using the dict function. Let's say D1 equals, we use the dict function like this in parentheses, and inside we put a list of tuples that include key, comma, value, and so on. So let's enter, let's say, key A, value 7. So again, it has to be entered as a list. So let me open a list here, and then we're going to enter the one tuple inside this list. So again, a list of tuples. So that's the first tuple. That's the first key A, value 7. And then we enter a second tuple. Let's say key B and value 3. Let's hit enter here and print D1. So we have a dictionary of 2 keys and a value associated with each key. So key A, value 7, as we see it here. So it's a list of tuples. There are occasions where we would want to create, again, the key can be anything. There are no restrictions as long as it's immutable. So it can be a tuple of elements associated with a value. Think of this being, let's say, in a store, and you want to see which products are being sold together. So here's an example with 2 pairs. So again, how many people bought milk and bread together? 5 people. Just a simple example. Butter and jelly, 7 people. Hit enter. So again, you can call any one of these elements. Let's say D milk and bread. Hit enter and prints 5. Notice now the key is tuple. We know tuple are immutable. So tuples are immutable, and therefore it was okay to use it as a key. What happens if we try to use, let's say, a list here instead of a tuple? So let's try to find a new dictionary here, D1 equals, and see what happens if we define this as a list. So here, milk and bread is defined as a list. Hit enter, and we get an error. It says unhashable type list. List is not immutable. The main thing about hashable objects is that they're immutable, so it didn't accept the list here. What if we try to use it as a set instead of a list here? What if we use it as a set of numbers? And again, set are mutable as we saw in the previous video, so it will not accept it either. But we can use a frozen set, which would be alright. So this should be acceptable. And now as you can see, it accepts it, so it's alright. So we couldn't use lists, we couldn't use a set. We can use integers, so we can define a dictionary, say D2 equals D2 3 for the key, XYZ for the value. This should be alright. So if you do D2 3, it will show you XYZ. So the key is 3, the value is XYZ. The value can be anything, no restrictions whatsoever, but the key has to be immutable, and we know integers are immutable, so they're right to use. Floating point numbers are also immutable. It's not recommended because of the decimal points and rounding and all these kind of things, so it's better to avoid them. We can use integers if necessary. I most of the time see the again either tuples used or strings. Alright, now let's go back to our original dictionary. There it is. And let's say you want to print all the keys of your dictionary. So D dot, you can see all the methods that are associated with a dictionary. D dot keys, let's see what this do. It prints out as a list. It prints out a list of all the possible keys inside of this dictionary. Let's say we sold some of the iPhone 6 items and we only have 4 left. We want to update our dictionary, so we can do this here. D and we set it equal, let's say 4. Now print D again, and notice the value has been updated. Let's say iPhone 6 is outdated and it's still, we don't carry it anymore. We just don't want it to be in the dictionary anymore. And you want to remove it. We can go delete the DL command, and which we could do with lists as well. And type the item D iPhone 6 here. And now let's print D, and notice the entire item has been removed, the key and its value. We can also remove key and its value by using the pop method. So here we go, D.pop, and then hit enter. It removes the element, we could see that here, and all, but it prints out its value. So in case if you want to save that number or assign it to another variable, you can do that. Now let's go back to our original dictionary and redefine that. Let's say we want to create a list of all values in the dictionary. We use the D.value. Let's hit enter at this point, and you notice it says function values. This is an indication that values is a function, and we have forgotten the parentheses. So repeat that with parentheses, and we see the list of values of this dictionary, 8, 4, and 9. Let's say now we want to add all the values of this dictionary. You can do sum D.values, enter gives you 21, and that's the sum of all the values in the dictionary. We can do the same thing with min or max. So if you go here, replace this by, let's say, max. What value is the most of as far as the values are concerned? We've got 9 items. If we do D.items, we will get a list of tuples, including key, value, key, value, and so on. This is about it for the basics of dictionaries in Python. As usual, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.